All right, next we have Chikwe Njoku, who's in charge of our Neighborhood Services Division. Chikwe.
Thank you, Steve. As you mentioned, I'm Chikwe Njoku, the Director of Neighborhood Services, and one of the reasons why our little division, we love to come to work is because we work so often with you guys, with business community, with residents, whether it's working with a property owner on a historic property and making improvements, or working in neighborhoods to implement their neighborhood conservation plans. So with that, I want to talk a little bit about our three program areas. As I mentioned, historic preservation was in our unit. Our historic preservation team manages the county's local historic districts and National Register districts in partnership with the Historic Affairs Landmark Review Board. They approve certificates of appropriateness for designated sites in addition to designating historic properties within the county. One of the photos we have up there is one of our commercial business owners, Dr. Leonard Muse of the Green Valley Pharmacy, which is one that we're particularly proud of that's now designated as a local historic district. The HLRB also approves plaques and markers for the various sites. They range from entire neighborhoods to individual businesses to cemeteries. There are a wide range of historic properties within the county. Neighborhood conservation is the second area. Many of you may be familiar with this. It recently celebrated its 50th anniversary last year. It's guided by the Neighborhood Conservation Advisory Committee, which represents nearly 50 neighborhoods from across the county. They put forward plans for infrastructure improvements within their communities that are accepted by the county board. And we do a wide range of projects from streetlights, sidewalk, curb and gutter, park improvements, neighborhood signs, and this is really one of our premier programs on making neighborhoods better and improving the infrastructure in Arlington neighborhoods. And the third group is neighborhood commercial revitalization. This is somewhat of a new program that was created out of a 2004 bond cycle, very similar to neighborhood conservation, which is a bond-funded program. Neighborhood commercial revitalization had two major projects after the 2004 cycle, which was the Penrose Square project and the Knock Village Center Action Plan, which was the Knocktown Square project. And what we found out is as those projects move forward, we began to get feedback from businesses, from residents about concerns about some of the neighborhood commercial districts outside of some of the major metro corridors. And so we began to just go out and meet with residents and neighborhoods. And the two areas, in addition to Knock, that we began to focus on is the Garden City Shopping Center in the Yorktown community and the 23rd Street Restaurant Row in Aurora Highlands down in Crystal City. So we began talking with business owners, residents, and property owners, and this is what we heard. We've heard that small businesses want more support from the county. In our conversations with them, it ranged from, we need to better understand how we apply for permits, in which my colleagues Shawriar and Norma are heavily involved in, and all the way to, hey, the county should tear up the whole street and rebuild all the infrastructure here and make streetscapes and banners. So there's a wide range of opinions about what the county could be doing in some of these areas, and so that's one of the things, some of the feedback that we took back. Additionally, we heard from residents. Residents want neighborhood commercial and neighborhood retail that's accessible, that's walkable, that's convenient to their communities. So, this is part of what makes Arlington, since we don't have any cities within the county, we're a series of neighborhoods with small downtowns. And so that sentiment seems to permeate in the three areas that we began to focus in. The third area where we spent a lot of time was neighborhoods want clean, safe, and attractive commercial areas. So this is one of the areas where we spent a lot of time working in the three focus areas coming out of our initial meetings. Next slide. So what we're doing. We created an interdepartmental team with some of our colleagues from code enforcement, from zoning, stormwater management and sanitation, public health, and we began to go out and have proactive surveys in the commercial areas, then come back and share information across divisions. Some issues fit neatly in one agency versus another, but we wanted to make sure that we were communicating and sharing those information so we can begin to work together to see how we can address those issues. The second thing we did was go back out and engage those communities. So we began to meet not only with individual business owners, but also with the business districts as a whole to begin to share some of this information, provide technical assistance where it was appropriate, and also begin to share with them which agency they should be contacting if they have a question or if they have a concern, or even if it's a complaint. We want to make sure that they're going to the right agency. And one of the things that we found was very important is we were able to actually put a face, business card, in the business owner's hands or in the property owner's hands, so they begin to realize, okay, there is an actual person that I can talk to, and I can follow up with them after the meeting and have additional conversations. So we want to make sure that business owners, property owners, even residents understood which agencies they should be talking with. And even behind that, we want to make sure that across county agencies that we were communicating ourselves and sharing information about issues or challenges that we identified. And that leads into our third piece, which is, again, improving communication. Not only communication internally within our department, within the county, but also communication to the business owners, the property owners. Some business owners had challenges. We referred them to our colleagues in AED Biz Launch, and they came to many of our meetings and made their resources available. So we want to make sure that we're linking businesses, property owners that may have had concerns with the appropriate county agencies. Next slide. So what's next? We want to continue to have these proactive surveys and continue to meet with the neighborhood business districts. We think it's important to continue to move forward. We've made some progress. We still have some other areas that we need some improvement in, and we want to continue to work with businesses and property owners to make those improvements and to make these neighborhood commercial districts more attractive. The other item that we want to do is we want to make sure these neighborhoods are viable, neighborhood commercial districts are viable. So we've begun to explore what other opportunities and resources and tools may be available to us to make these improvements. One example was something like business conservation, which was similar to neighborhood conservation, but that was done years ago. So we want to go back and look at that and see, is this an appropriate tool that we can use now, or are there elements of it that we can use to make some enhancement in the neighborhood commercial districts? And finally, we want to identify partnership opportunities. Certainly, we as a county want to work with the business owners, we want to work with the property owners, we want to work with the civic associations, but we also want to create a forum where the business owners are working with the neighborhoods, because we think that that's the important piece in this. We can work with them as individual groups all day, but it's important that they work together, particularly with the commercial districts that are within their civic association boundaries. So if the county can provide a medium for where we can bring these groups together and talk about things, activities, projects, festivals, whatever it might be to kind of improve these neighborhood commercial districts, it's a win-win for everyone involved. It's a win for the businesses, it's a win for the property owners, and it's certainly a win for the residents that live in the neighborhoods. And the results will be obvious. We'll have viable, attractive neighborhood commercial districts that enhance the local community, businesses that contribute to the local economy and provide jobs and services for the community. And most importantly, again, is to improve the communication between the county, local businesses, property owners, and civic associations so we can work to address issues and challenges in the front end, and so we don't have as many problems and challenges later on down the line. Thank you.